So we want to pause and remember that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have been custodians, caretakers of this land for tens of thousands of years. With the from their perspective, from time immemorial, and they have been obedient to their creators' instructions to them to look after the land and to look after the plant life and the water and the air and the people, and which includes us. And so we want to express our respect and gratitude to keep that type of worldview and ideas, culture alive for all this time, and that we are the beneficiaries of that. And we just honor and acknowledge that they have been doing that and continue to do that, and want us to also have a spiritual and deeper understanding of our connection to nature and land and water and skies. And I'm on the Worimi people's country. Thank you.
I'm on Wangal people.
Oh my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them
it looks like the numbers are going down. I don't know, we should have sent a message for everyone to remind them.
have written the story of the unfoldment of the divine plan on the scroll of its first century. Before you, beloved friends, lies stretched out the blank scroll of the future, on which you and your spiritual descendants will inscribe fresh and lasting deeds of renunciation and heroism for the betterment of the world.
Very nice video.
Everyone can share one highlight that they felt on that video. Just one single.
Is it true that that video was only released today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, right?
Well, in Haifa, it was released on 5th. But it's very, very
My impression was that every age has got its own features, and now it's our time with all plants. This time it had many stages, and people were different at different stages.
young.
I saw the word sustainable or sustain or sustainer. I saw that word appear so many times. So that was another principle, sustainable. But the other question is quickly going to my mind that the children class, how we gonna be developed for the next few years coming, because at the moment, as you saw, everybody know about that control of mass population. At the moment, people still have to go through contraception, pill control, and control of mass population. Just like China in the last few decades, they have one child per family policies. So with that sort of development there, unless we change it, like in the old days, people can produce 8 or 10 kids, but nowadays maximum is probably 5 or 6. So we have enough children to teach about the Baha'i sustainable process. And the other second issue is distribution of resources. There a problem because just talk about COVID-19 vaccination and medicines haven't come to a lot of other countries that really need them to be sustainable. I mean, talk about population sustainable. They will die. Millions of them already die because of COVID. So that is the issue that the Baha'i people are facing at the moment. Thank you.
Good. Anyone else? Tracy? Sachi?
Oh, it's very interesting, that's for sure. And amazing how each of those adaptations were made, after the, different people passed away. And but it was very good, that last little clip about women, the girl child and the transformation of women's experience in the last 100 years. This has been quite dramatic.
Yes. Sachi?
Admire the initial oneness in the religion. That was very good. And it is a nice platform to build up.
Robert?
Just two things on the women. First one was that the situation was, in the past, it's always been important to educate the boys. But nowadays, if you can't afford to educate a girl and a boy, you educate the girl first, because she's the future mother, first educator of the children after they're born. And a small world comment about that German lady talked about her husband was with Rommel. The story goes that Rommel wanted to destroy the Baha'i properties. And that's how he sort of heard about the Baha'i faith first off. And I actually met one of the daughters in Haifa years ago.
Wow.
And she confirmed the story.
Oh, I didn't know that. What is his name?
Can't remember what his name was, but let's say it was with the German army, and he was either a radio operator or something like that. I'm not too sure which. And Rommel wanted to destroy the Baha'i holy places in Israel.
Good.
Well, certainly the Baha'i teachings are the opposite of the Nazis' worldview.
Yes, definitely.
Well, see, like the Jewish people, the Baha'is were actually banned from their religion during the Nazi regime, and a lot of them ended up in the concentration camps as well.
Zore, any highlights?
I think I love the boy, the first at the beginning, how he was saying that he's lonely.
Yes.
Because we had the same situation maybe in Iran, you know, sometimes in the school that everybody were saying things against the Baha'is. But I felt that it was the grandma or the one who talked to her. She said it very well, especially about the guardian, Yogi Effendi, that how he felt lonely when suddenly her grandfather passed away and he was left to look after the whole situation. I like that part. And saying the prayer, you know, whenever you're feeling lonely or you are feeling alone, saying a prayer always helps.
Parimal, Satane.
Yeah, this film really shows us that mankind is an ever-advancing civilization. It will progress and progress until such time that they will become very noble.
Satane, you have any comments, highlights from this video? What about Colin?
Yeah, I really like the bit about being a learning community, about you're not there just to talk, but you're there to listen and to try things and make mistakes. And the example they pointed to was actually in Colombia, where they were having large numbers of people joining the faith, but they couldn't work out how to turn this into a community, how to sustain it. And they tried trial and error for about 20 years, and then they hit on the answer. You do the learning, and you put it into practice straight away. So you're developing capacities and immediately, and that's been a great benefit for since the 70s and 80s and 90s. Even here, but we had a little study circle with a man from the Jewish faith and Christian and Baha'i, and we were studying how to become children's class teachers, which is something I never had confidence in. But anyway, as we were learning these skills, you know, this storytelling and memorization and how to teach a song and how to teach a cooperative game, this was a very comfortable study circle until I said, let's put it into practice. And so we had a little children's class, and my friends in the study circle said that took me out of my comfort zone, but I guarantee that it'll be the only bit of the study circle they'll remember forever.
You are a different class teacher now, right?
When there's the opportunity, we had the principal of Malabar Public School said she wanted a high class, and so we did for quite a while until the next principal came along and introduced philosophy and actually took kids out of the Baha'i class without asking their parents. Some of the parents were quite upset. Anyway, it was good. It was good while it lasted.
Is Patane there? To me, the highlights, one actually how there were few Baha'is here and there in 1921, and how Shoghi Effendi gradually built this up to be able to bring the community to elect the Universal House of Justice. The other thing that I felt was that the crisis and victory, the transition from Baha'u'llah to Abdul Baha as the center of covenant and the interpreter, was well written, and Abdul Baha, it was clear to everyone that is Abdul Baha. And so is with transition from Abdul Baha to Shoghi Effendi, because it was clearly written. When Shoghi Effendi went to London, and suddenly it was a pandemic, and that I only knew now. It was a pandemic at that time, and he passed away in London suddenly, and there's no successor. And so that was a challenging time, and how the hands of the cause of God, they took control of it and guided the community until the Universal House of Justice was first elected in 1963. That to me was a very, very special moment. Yes. Anyway, if we don't have any comments or questions, we can go to the quotes that you wanted to discuss. Is that okay?
I just have one comment to say about what Byung said, that we don't have the resources for population. I read somewhere that the Earth has the capacity to have 8 times the population that we have now. And we're going to, I think by 2052, something like that, the middle of the century, we would have 12 billion people. So we are using the resources badly. We're spending money on armaments where we should use it for health. The capacity is there. The humanity is using it incorrectly.
Yes. That's why Tracy's book, what is that book called? What is it called, Colin?
Sustainable well-being.
Sustainable well-being, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Tracy.
Okay, let's.
Just sort of, I have a question about they talked about process quite a few times through the different stages. So, with your House of Justice and everything, so is the process and method in the sort of a central position of the unfoldment of this sort of plan? I mean, I wouldn't mind a little bit more explanation about the process or the method or the significance in the balance of, we have God the Creator, you have your original manifestation, and then his sort of revelation, and then you have the sort of process and method. How do you balance those things in a living faith?
Colin, do you want to answer that?
That's a great question, and I think it starts with Baha'u'llah, because everything that's unfolding was in his teachings. But for example, the Universal House of Justice he laid down in the most holy book, but without. But it took time for the world to be ready for that. I think the movie said that it needed national institutions to support it. So it's a gradual process, but there are also teachings in there which we're learning as we go along. For example, consultation. In the world around us, consultation is just, I don't know, talking to other people, but not necessarily listening, and somehow pushing your point of view through. But in the Baha'i faith, we enter a meeting detached and with the good of the whole at heart, and we bring our best ideas and our experience, but we put them on the table. But when people comment on them and move, and it all changes, we don't feel hurt because the ideas belong to the group, and it might be a totally new idea which comes out. So all of these things which are in the Baha'u'llah's teachings just unfold through practice.
Is it young? Are you going to answer this question or something else?
Yes, thank you.
Is
What I see the process and methods that come from the creator manifestation as Tracy list out. I think for me the difference that the Universal House of Justice didn't have the army, the defense force. One thing. The second thing, they did not run a parliament house. So the Universal House of Justice will need national institution to back whatever plan, that spiritual plan that help them to develop things, because by themselves they just need arms. They need a right hand and left hand support. So therefore the national institutions such as each country, they have their own parliament house, they have their own defense force, they have their own department of ministries, or ministers and everybody else run. So actually in reality, they run as parallel all the programs and projects similar like what the Baha'u'llah listed out in the divine plan. So therefore, the two systems run parallel. One complement each other, like they complement the other one. So the political ones will complement the spiritual, religious one, and so they work together to create peace and unity. Hopefully, if they run the process, like the resources and everything else and populations correctly.
In the video that we saw, if there was a place they mentioned, Baha'u'llah's teaching led the vision, what humanity is going to be. And Abdul Baha's the divine plan was like the blueprint of how, and then Shoghi Effendi actually made that building, or he started the process. And the local communities or the local spiritual assemblies were the pillars for that. So it is a process that the blueprint was Abdul Baha's divine plan from the vision of Baha'u'llah, and it was set in motion through these administrative orders, the local spiritual assemblies, national spiritual assemblies, and eventually the Universal House of Justice. And the process started with that. And it is a learning process. It is not that we have answers to everything. We are, as we go on, we are trying to find the answers through the actions and learning and reflection, and then refining and sharing this with the worldwide communities. And in the process, we welcome friends to work along to make these changes happen. So as the teacher who was in the last bit, one of the teachers, she is not a Baha'i, but she was teaching the children, the Baha'i children classes. Ahmad?
Yeah, as you said, the divine plan was the blueprint. But I want to say that everything is based on consultation. The national assemblies, local assemblies, the Universal House of Justice, all consult with individuals and committees, and then design plans. And Universal House of Justice does the same thing. And even Guardian started it with 10-year crusade by consulting and then establishing the 10-year crusade. And Universal House of Justice has been setting up many plans, 6-year plan, 2-year plan, 1-year plan. And now we're going to start this year in April, a 9-year plan. So these plans are based on consultation.
Yes. Any other comments or questions? Lore, Robert, come on.
just that it reminds me of every religion begins, and it's only, from what I can tell, that the pure spirit of religion can transform structures and cultures. And in the Baha'i faith, we also have the covenant, which is a protection against division and politics.
Yes.
We don't have division. I mean, you say we don't have division now. What happened at the Parliament House last week? The same day, Thursday, last week in the Parliament House in Canberra, there's something happening there, and nobody talking about it. And we're supposed to talk about unity, so we try to avoid the big issue.
Yes.
So if you go back to the social media history, or go to the library and looking for the newspaper, what happened in Canberra last Thursday, I believe, there's something happening at Canberra Parliament House, but nobody talk about it. You know, they keep low profile. People that went quiet. People doesn't want to discuss about things that not unity or whatever. So we're still working towards a lot of things that Baha'u'llah set out for people, and hope them all the best luck so they can achieve it.
Yes. Yeah, there are many things that happens in the world, as was discussed in the video too. So many things are depressing happening, and even the small things, a good thing that we do, whether it will have effect or not, but they were convinced whatever good that we do, whether it is small or not, it will have good effect. So with that conviction, they work. So outside, yes, there are many things that happens, and we should be aware of it. We should be conscious about it. And how to make the change happen, we use Baha'u'llah's guidance to make the changes. So
Yes, thank you very much. That's why I'm thinking about the bad prayer about removal of difficulties.
yes,
How we make people happy. I mean, like openly, we should make people happy, and people will have freedom to say things that they should not be like. Why we're not saying it? Why we're not discuss about it? You know. So that's why we just want to know why people are not happy, and it's because of what happened to them individual, or what happened. Is that about the weather? You know, question marks.
yes. Well, let's, if there are any one wants to answer that.
What happened last Thursday was very complicated by a small, it's not something that we can discuss and come to a conclusion about or an understanding about very easily, because it's a complex combination of people, you know, and it's one of those things that we need to amplify other things to diminish what happened. You know, you can make peaceful protests, or you can make protests like happened there, and we want to minimize them and maximize what we can, you know, constructively do. So it was actually a complex group of people that did that. Not a simple thing to talk about it. You know, if you wanted to go to the ins and outs of it, it might take 4 hours.
Yes.
And I personally have not got the energy for it.
It is what I think what we have to focus is the transformation of our own self and the society. So how I can transform myself to be a better being, and how can I, what can I do, and how can I help the transformation of the society to become a better world. So for that, the weapons are the virtues, not burning.
Much better weapon.
The weapons are the virtues of love, patience, forgiveness, kindness, mercy. These are the tools that we have to use. And in the process, we learn. We learn ourselves. We learn our own mistakes. So we are told, you know, in the video you would have seen that there is an institute process that started in 1996, where worldwide Baha'is and non-Baha'is, they study these things. The purpose of that institute process is to develop us individually to walk a path of service where we transform ourselves and others. So in that is a course that we all study, most of us. In one of the books, the first book, and in the first unit, there is a quotation which says, "Bring thyself to account each day, ere thou art summoned to a reckoning." So every day I have to reflect on my deeds. And if I have done something wrong, I have to seek the forgiveness from God and his assistance so that I can be a better person next day. So this is a process that we, every day, every one of us have to do. I mean, that's what I learned, and I try to practice this. So in this process, I try to improve myself. And if that works for me, I try to help others and share with them. Maybe they can try, but they can help them. So this is the way that I try to change the world to a better world, not by retaliation or revenge. So if the majority of the indigenous people have been subjected to this injustice and sufferings, but they have shown a lot of patience and forgiveness. So we have to learn. There are a lot of things to learn from others too. So that is what we are collectively doing, trying to do here.
Yeah, I did a note for that for your talk there. The film was talking also in paragraph about Baha'i teaching and God to swing them into actions, and that sort of a transformation, you know, between individual and groups. And what I'm saying that through quite number of years, we just repeat all over the projects that we already done and we already completed through, and even some large companies was awarded human rights awards, and individual got award in a human rights category major projects. Now, with the situation after COVID and global warming and climate change, people go back from square one. Like whatever achieved, they forget it. We return to the square one. The square one means we start all the projects all over again. And all the coming generation, they will have to start all the projects that have been undone all over again. Yeah, very simple. Thank you.
Okay. Sachi wants to say something.
Yeah, at this point, I would like to mention a quote. Last time I gave, and I think we didn't have time to do that, and we left it, I think. It's about thoughts. Dalai Lama
Yes, yes.
has quoted something with the nature's law. That means our thoughts should be always good. That's a very important thing if you want to be improved. So every time when we think or when we try to do something, must check it. Is it a good thought? Whether it will harm the others or it will harm myself and things like that. Because he has said like this, take care of your thoughts because they become your words. Then take care of your words because they will become your actions. Then take care of your actions because they will become your habits. Then take care of your habits as they will become your character. Then take care of your character because it will become your destiny. It was a very nice thing, by nature's law, how it is, say, going like a cause and effect like that. How it changes you to be a good person or a bad person. It's a very good understanding there. And our destiny is the life. So it starts from the thoughts.
Yes.
So if we can cut off that with the good thoughts, we can be the very best people or we'll be satisfied, whatever happens. Otherwise, it is a nice thing. It was
You can see that.
by Dalai Lama.
Can you see that in the screen?
Yeah, it is there on the screen, yes. Because last time I think we didn't have time to go through that.
Yes.
So thoughts is very important. Always check your thoughts. Is it okay?
It's a very challenging thing, but yes, if we can, before it becomes words and actions, if we can make the thoughts good thoughts, then the words and action will come.
This is how we must be careful with our kids also when we are bringing them up. You must see that they are in a good company. So otherwise, they spoil their future. Always the start point is our thoughts. End is our destiny.
Okay.
What do you suggest about having a good thought? Means, for example, I read the writings of Baha'u'llah every night to give me a vision or to have the right thought. And then hopefully that you practice it to have the right thought. But thought comes to you always in some way, but the right thought, yeah, you try to keep that one in your mind.
Yes, spiritual thoughts are very good. So it will never let you deviate from the path. So it is good.
This is a beautiful quotation, and it reminds me of the virtues that one has to have. Good virtues would bring a good character.
Yes.
I think the virtue of, truthfulness. Truthfulness is the foundation of all human virtues. I feel that sometimes we forget that sometimes unnecessarily you say a lie, but then you remind yourself, I'm going to be, truthful. Even sometimes it's hard, because you may get into trouble or something. But I feel even to try to focus on one virtue all the time and remind yourself, I'm going to, with my action and my thought, to be truthful, at least to myself and to others who are around me. That's sometimes it's easier than if I have to think of too many things. But I think if you practice one virtue, the other one comes with it, because it's all connected. Yeah.
Okay, we have almost 9 past, 3 minutes past 9. Anything that we want to discuss? We want to discuss is there any removal or difficulties?
Oh, the very basic questions. The very basic question that with the removal of difficulties, should it be read and prayer by itself alone, or it should be consolidated or integrated with other prayers?
Sorry, say the question again.
You know, the removal of difficulties prayer, should it be read by itself? Or it should be integrated or consolidated with all other general prayers to make it stronger or faster?
Personally, every prayer, individual prayers, they stand alone as an individual prayer. So you can say that itself, or you can say with other prayers as well. There's no specific guidance as to how a particular prayer, the general prayers to be told, except the obligatory prayers. Yeah, you can say with other prayers, you can say by itself.
Yes,
I would say, sorry.
Sorry, if you read this prayer, it's so short. How many times you need to read it? Like 10 times, 50 times, 100 times?
I was going to say, many people read this many times repeatedly to give them a strength and trust in God in order to pass their difficulties. So sometimes people do 500 times, you know. When Baha'u'llah was in prison in Tehran, he gave a similar short quotation to the prisoners, his fellows that were prison, and they were chanting that short quotation many times until the Shah of Nasruddin Shah had the chanting of the prisoners. So reading this even just by itself, many times it brings a strength and trust in God.
Yeah, but if you pray for somebody else, like if you need to pray this for somebody else, then you gotta do it faster and quicker for them. Otherwise, they're not getting it, you know? That's why I put a pressure on this prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I think number 9 is very special in the Baha'i faith. You say 9 times, or some people they say 3 times. It depends on you, but even 1 time could have the same effect as 100 times. Baha'u'llah even said, don't bore yourself or tire yourself with prayers. It depends on your heart. If your heart is pure, you're saying it from the bottom of your heart, praying for somebody, for their safety, for their success. Even 1 time would be fine. There is nothing with the numbers. It's the main thing is your devotion or your heart.
Oh.
Also Baha'u'llah says meditating on 1 sentence and getting results is better than reading many books. So even a short prayer like this if one meditates and concentrates on it, it has that effect. Doesn't matter how many times one reads, but meditation on it is important.
I also was listening to Pankaj's talk, and he was saying about Satchit Anand, like giving me a pure heart or clear my mind, I think, to see the truth. I think that in every, spiritual phenomenon, there is no numbers, I feel. That's the main thing is meditation.
Yes. But,
Historically speaking, people have said that prayer up to 1,000 times. There was a community, Saskatchewan in Canada, and also Burnside in Adelaide. All the people in Burnside years ago were all dying off. And they said, we're dying off. What are you going to do with us? And somebody suggested, and I don't know how many times they said, but the Burnside community said that prayer a number of times. And next thing was a big influx of people came into the community. So the same thing happened in Saskatchewan in Canada.
right.
Yeah, part is very interesting.
Yes. I think Jung, because Jung is asking, someone is in difficulty and you are saying for them, and it is a very short prayer. Is that enough, or do you have to say many times, or how many times? It all depends on you and your heart and your connection with God. Whether you say that once with that devotion, radiance, and yearning, and God will answer that prayer. But if you say that for several times, your mind is focused on that, so that the intensity will become more and more. So it may have greater effect. But it is all depends on individual and the circumstances.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So we can, if you don't have any other comments, we can close this today, and next week, please send some quotations. And
Thank
then
you.
we can
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you, Ave Maria. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.